new chapter. PPP.
Illusion of transparency. Why no one understands you. In hindsight bias. People who know the outcome of a situation believe the outcome should have been easy to predict in advance. Knowing the outcome, we reinterpret the situation in light of that outcome. Even when warned, we can't interpret to empathize with someone who doesn't know what we know. Closely related is the illusion of transparency. We always know what we mean by our words, and so we expect others to know it too. Reading our own writing, the intended interpretation falls easily into place, guided by our knowledge of what we really meant. It's hard to empathize with someone who must interpret blindly, guided only by the words. June recommends a restaurant to Mark. Mark dines there and discovers unimpressive food and mediocre service, or B, delicious food and impeccable service. Then Mark leaves the following message on June's answering machine. June, I just finished dinner at the restaurant you recommended, and I must say it was marvelous, just marvelous. Kisa presented a group of subjects with scenario, and 59% thought that Mark's message was sarcastic and that James perceived the sarcasm. One among other subjects told scenario B. Only 3% thought that James perceived Mark's message as sarcastic. Kisar and Barr seemed to indicate that an actual voice message was played back to the subjects. Two Kisar showed that his subjects were told that the restaurant was horrible, but that Mark wanted to conceal his response. They believed June would not perceive sarcasm in the same message. Bree. They were just as likely to predict that she would perceive sarcasm when he attempted to conceal his negative experience as when he had a positive experience and was truly sincere. So participants took Mark's communicative intention as transparent. It was as if they assumed that June would perceive whatever intention Mark wanted her to perceive. 4. The goose hangs high is an archaic English idiom that has passed out of use in modern language. Kisar and Bly told one group of subjects that the goose hangs high meant that the future looks good. Another group of subjects learned that the goose hangs high meant the future looks gloomy. 5 subjects were then asked which of these two meanings an uninformed listener would be more likely to attribute to the idiom. Each group thought that listeners would perceive the meaning presented as standard. Other idioms tested included come the uncle over someone, to go by the board, and to lay out in lavender. English, such a lovely language. A later experiment tested whether similar social signaling cues to a low-status pose conveyed negative sentiment about the giver. If people view another person as low-status and standing in low-status relative to their self, then they attribute low-status to the low-status cue as well. 6 people who had been told that another person had a low-status view were less likely to pick up on an authoritarian face and read it as standing for a high-status seeking individual, especially if they saw an opportunity for that individual to gain status. 7. This suggests that people are ready to interpret from a low-status cue a status signal that we desire. Female college students rated other girls on a set of status items. They rated one other girl for traits such as ethnicity that had a low social impact to one of their own attributes. When these students learned that another girl was also an ethnic minority, they were more likely to also interpret the attribute to lower social impact. This suggests that racial minority might have been a proxy for another trait. Another study used a demonstration game format. A professional at the big law firm tried to persuade a child pretending to be an executive, that this child should follow a path to law school that would earn $80K for the future. A parent in an identical frame of mind tried to persuade the same child to become a doctor that would earn $25K. 9 subjects believed the adults were insincere, even when they had all the same facts at their disposal. Participants played a chess game simulating a situation at a poker game between 2 high-status professionals. Doing it. If she started off doing it at each individual in a different group, even when she couldn't change any single one of her own behavior patterns. 11. Suppose the situation was the same, but instead of changing an individual's behavior patterns, I suppose I should tell people, in a group of about 10 people, to open up to the opposite of whom I have already told them. So I must add a command. Now take a picture. People who hear this part of my instructions are more likely to imagine taking pictures, whereas the commands they imagined to come after the part were random. Finally, expansive language is a language that we tend to perceive as self-expressive rather than direct communication.
Sorry.
This might include metaphors, anaphor using several pronouns in a row, and figurative expressions. 12. Elegant language. The opposite is generally understood as linguistic ineffectiveness. For example, for those who do not follow orders, please stay off the ice. 4. For those who do not follow orders, please stay off the ice. Is 2 more words than 1. Participants saw more authoritative seeming content in messages, but misinterpreted the information they gave as conveyed. This effect was amplified among students and lower status group members, or those with low influence or social skills, even though they weren't convinced of anything unusual happening, unlike the effects in social relationships.
Okay. Okay. We're stopping right now, because I'm blanking out. I haven't slept yet. Can you tell? Yeah, you can.